Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here, and welcome to my backyard. That's right, I'm going to give you guys the ground tour, everything about this yard. Don't know quite how long this is going to be. I'll probably edit some things out, but... So, backstory on this yard is that my grandparents bought it back in the, I believe, the mid-50s. And... or maybe early 60s, somewhere around that time period, late 50s, early 60s, I want to say. And so what you're looking at here, this is just kind of like a side area, and it's basically like a transition out into the front of the yard, if you will. So what we have back here is the newest element of the yard, which is this little transitioning point between the side area and then kind of like the main hub area of the yard. So we're going to get to that hub area and then kind of like end out by showing how everything connects around. But let's get things started here, and let's move towards just showing off all the little details here. Let's move towards the park. And I say park because I really do think that this is theme park material in some ways. I really do think that my grandpa would never admit it. He's the most humble guy when it comes to it, but this is pretty much all his work. I mean, I've given him stuff over the years, but he puts it all together, and he has an eye for it. As you can see here, we have a little gargoyle area overlooking things. We have a little fence, everything, so you can kind of just see, how everything sort of comes together. I mean, I can just spotlight. I can say for sure that this stone bench right here has been here for at least as long as I've been around. I can say that much. And same with that duck down there, honestly. But what hasn't been around, what my grandpa's kind of been expanding on, is all the surrounding stuff right here. So he basically takes landscaping and then really authentic, cool stuff that he finds at thrift stores that fits the theme of certain areas. What does that sound like? What does that sound like? To me, personally, I don't know. It sounds like DIY Imagineering to me. But that's just my opinion. So, as we see, we kind of have like a transitioning point of our own out into the yard. Whoop. Gonna go out here. There's definitely some motifs in the yard that I will point out. One of them, of course, is these suckle plants right here. Not sure exactly what they're called, but the succulents, I guess. And my grandpa definitely takes advantage of them, as you'll see. A lot of the theme of this yard is just kind of, repurposing stuff that's been around over the years. So here you can see the entrance to this little back area, Dippy Drive. Nice view of the surrounding Petaluma area right there. And here we go into another transitioning point. I'm just going to kind of let it speak for itself. It's definitely got a creek feel to it. It's basically a gutter, so if you run a hose down it, you very much can get a creek effect. And, I definitely have some fun childhood memories of doing just that. So here we come into the transitional, outskirts of the yard, and we see kind of like a welcome sign. Frogs. That's going to be a big motif to look out for. Kind of the succulents, here we have a little like welcome area, sit down, take a breather before you enter the park, and that's what I'm going to be calling it. It's the park to me. As you can see, ducks are another motif that we have going on, is our palm trees. So different sort of motifs and aesthetics, volcano rocks, lava rocks, granite, stepping stones, all sorts of things that kind of like tie everything together. And here we have the entryway, the main gateway. Alright, just gonna soak it all in. I mean, it's not too grand, but what does count is definitely the details. And here is a whole other thing that I'm just going to give you a sneak peek of right now. I might do a separate video on it. It's essentially like a brass museum. Again with the frog motif. Very much a repurposed wishing well, and this wishing well very much reminds me of Disney. Just with how much detail is kind of carved into it, how much stuff has been repurposed. And as you can see, everything just flows together in a very naturalistic way. I got this piece from my thrift store because it was too broken to sell. Because, I mean, as you can see, there's definitely a lot of cracks there. A lot of cracks in the face and everything. But I thought that was perfect to go in the yard. It definitely feels like something you'd see in a queue for an Indiana Jones ride or something like that. A lot of stuff here has a lot of history. That has been there, like, forever. I mean, I'm pretty sure that right there has been in, like, pictures since, like, the 70s or something like that. I'd have to talk to my grandpa to, sort of confirm just how old some of these various set pieces are. Right. And another transitional area. So you can see we're kind of continuing on the frog theme. We have a little insect theme going on as well. It's hard to see, but there's a more upstairs sign right there, which I think is clever. Alright. And this is basically like the main entryway. It's kind of like the Main Street train station. It's kind of like the reveal, like, woo, here we are, look what we can explore. One of the big reveals is like, oh my god, there's a whole back area out there. There's not just a back area, but we'll get to that. Here goes. Right, so yeah, very much kind of keeping the aesthetics just flowing very naturally here. This is pretty much the partner statue of the park, because I would like to think it represents my grandma and grandpa, and of course it carries on the frog motif. So, Disney parks have hidden Mickeys. We have a hidden E.T. You ready to see the hidden E.T.? You have to go all the way around here. More succulents. This is like the main hive of succulents, I think. Ferns are definitely another aesthetic that kind of like pops out here. Obviously, like very well maintained potted plants, kind of giving it like a very naturalistic look. This whole area I'm standing on right now, when I was a kid, used to be just a straight up lawn, and look what it's become now. But the hidden ET is so hidden that it's honestly kind of hard to see, but you see it right back there? I honestly think it's facing backwards, which makes it even more hidden, but it's that stone statue right there. Alright. There's a little side area here. Not a whole lot to it, but I'll go around and walk you through it just to show you. Not really the most exciting part of the yard. I found a lemon tree. Alright. Continuing on, there is just a hell of a lot to see. This whole section of the yard is basically like the Tiki Section. We got like a whole, it's just like the density of what my grandpa's been able to do with this, to me, is what really impresses me. Like, how everywhere you look, it almost kind of like feels endless in terms of like where the detail ends. Look right there, we got like an elephant chilling there. That turtle right there, that used to be a sandbox when I was a kid, so very, very fond memories of that damn turtle. We got a little chair in here if you want to just sit and chill in this little room. We got a tiki bird, as you can see. And then just for a little extra kinetic energy, it bleeds out into the next area. It bleeds out into the next area, which gives it a kinetic area so people can go around and be like, oh man, I'm going to go to get to see that. It kind of builds anticipation in a very Disney park style way. Here we go. Frog. Count the frogs, guys. Seriously. I honestly don't know if I could find all the frogs in this yard. That's, probably the main theme. If I were to name this park, I would probably... I don't know. I'd have to think about that, but I'd give it some sort of a main frog theme. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, very tropical themed here with the ferns and everything. Just nice places to sit and overlook stuff. Frog. Okay. Frog. So this, I think some people I have told about this, they're going to be excited to see it, but here we go, guys. Here is the Enchanted Tiki Bar of my backyard. It's not Trader Sam's, but I think it's pretty cool in its own right. So we got all that rock work right there. That's pretty much authentic volcano, volcano rock that I think has been here for as long as the spar has been here, which for my money is the 60s. I would actually really want to do an interview with my grandpa at some point if you guys are interested in that. And he could really clear the light on some of that stuff, some of the history with this place. Hello. Ooh, on-camera cameo from Tiki. Alright. I guess, yeah, there's so much to see, guys. I don't even... So, you know, as you can see, we continue the frog thing. Out overlooking the yard. Much like Disney parks, I feel like this park, there's no vantage points that don't give you interesting things to draw your eye. And that's one of the things I just really appreciate about this place. I mean, I'm trying to get as much of it as I can on camera and still having the camera look nice in this video, but yeah. Alright. That's pretty much the Tiki Bar. Let's double back here. So, yeah, you got the bar. Just, I love the placement of that. I mean, just look at that. That's symmetry right there. Alright. Here we go. This area is honestly not the most maintained, just because this is where my grandpa keeps a lot of his yard equipment, and that's honestly the only reason. But I still think it's great. I still think it flows together really well, and of course the theme is gargoyles. As you can see, you got just a ton of gargoyles populating this area. Old ancient rocking horse up on the top there. And as you can see, we're starting to get into like the kinetics of, you know, we saw Dippy Drive, and like 10 minutes later we're back overlooking it. Ooh, get all those gargoyles in one shot. That's a good shot. Alright, just bam. Nice vantage point of the neighborhood of the far outskirts of Petaluma. There's an In-N-Out that you can see from here, especially at night, because you can see the neon lit up. Right there you see the creek overlooking it. Nice vintage Disneyland license plate there. Good touch. Okay. You guys haven't seen anything yet. You really haven't. I mean, I don't mean to sound arrogant about it, honestly, but just the level of detail here is just staggering. Okay, you see this? We're gonna circle back around to that. We're not... No, you know what? We better not circle back around to it, because I need light to film it. So let's unlock this giant padlock and go inside, shall we? Alright, here we are. This used to be a pool. Enough said. Enough said. This used to be a pool. You know, as you can see, like it was an old adobe pool. Alright, so just... This might be this is probably definitely my favorite area. This, to me, feels like... It feels like the end of a Disney queue. I'm going to go ahead and move this chair out of the way. I mean, I think it just kind of speaks for itself in terms of, like, something like that is straight out of, like, the Radiator Springs Racers queue, I think. You know, you got this whole rust aesthetic going on with this shed here. Feels like, you know, it basically feels like a miniature version of the sheds that you would go into in the Radiator Springs Racers queues. Right. Got a little dog being friends with a cat. That's a nice little detail that I honestly never noticed. And that's the thing, guys. I need to start coming out here more, honestly, because there are just a ton of details that I don't notice, honestly, sometimes. And I could just, you know, I could really showcase them, because I feel like stuff like this is just, it's too good to not be seen. Like, it's too good to just be kind of just sitting here. My grandpa's worked too hard. I really want other people to appreciate what he's done, just because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like the talent that's been put into this thing is staggering, and it does have a history behind it. It does have legit history behind it. Alright, so this is one of my favorite personal shots in the park. Gonna zoom out a little bit. I really like that bang gun, man. That's honestly one of my favorite details. Alright, here we go. As you can see here, we kind of have like a lobster theme, but a frog. The frog's still in it. You know, it's kind of scattered a little bit, but, you know, I feel like the trucks kind of transition into, you know, we got like an ocean, kind of like animal theme going on, definitely some sea. God, some of this, I've honestly never even noticed this. What the hell? There's so much stuff. Okay. Those fish should honestly be somewhere more prominent because they've been here for a long time. Okay, are you ready for one of the big money shots of the park, I think? I mean, this thing is... I hope there's enough light to really capture just how much is in here. The Surf Shack. The Surf Shack. This is a Disney queue. This thing is just insanely detailed. Just go in. I mean, it's just staggering, right? It transports you just like a Disney park would transport you. You know, you got the, like I said, you got the kinetic energy, the vantage points out there, looking out into the other stuff that we've just seen. Just everything all up and around here. And here we go. It's a little dark in here. I apologize. Oh god, it's... For a tall guy like me, it's hard to even get in and out of this, but it's worth it. Oh man. Okay, reveal shot of the rest of it. I mean... You even got this wall, like I said, it's a little dark here, but you can pretty much make out the details. It is a little dark, I apologize. Let me see, you can definitely see this area better. I mean, look at this! Look at this! Look at this! How freaking kinetic is that, man? That's ridiculous. I don't know. Like, when I see something like that, I feel like I'm in Fantasyland or something. Okay. Let's see, you got kind of a general, like, sort of childhood theme going on here. Frog. I need to count the frogs. I need to do a video just counting the frogs in this park. Blue Hawaii poster. You know, kind of continuing like sort of a tropical aesthetic that runs throughout the park. I like this fortune teller thing. You know, it's a kind of an interactive queue piece, if you will. Italian lover, 24-hour service, pasta and wine included. Alright, again, sorry it's a little dark in this particular corridor. Let's see, I mean... And you're just gonna have to look out and see... This is like, you know, kind of like the starting point of the rest of the yard. We'll get back to that. Alright, getting back out of the Surf Shack. I didn't even showcase this. I mean, you know, look how small this place looks. And it is small. It's definitely cramped in there, but you know, you definitely get the vibe that, and, you know, here we see that kinetic, like, that's the window that we saw looking out. Like, there's so many different points of visual reference here. Alright. Continuing on. This Outback sign has been here for a long time. I actually remember when it was new. As you can see, you can kind of see some elements of that other area kind of poking out over it. Right, this used to be a bird cage. Very beloved animals lived in here. I still miss them, but at the same point, they were very loud and made it really hard to shoot any footage out here. So, alas, they had a wonderful run, and I do miss them, but it is kind of nice for production. Okay, as you can see, we got a little movie theater here. Movie theater aesthetic going on. And this is cool. This is kind of like a transitioning point out, you know, into that tiki bar that I showed you. Not the tiki bar, but kind of like the tropical porch area. Right. I found a lemon tree. Yeah. I mean, this is cool. Like, I think these lanterns back here are honestly kind of recent, because I've never noticed them, but they add, like, another layer of authenticity, and they serve an entirely different purpose to the surf shack. So, in a way, it's kind of like how the Carnation Cafe blends into the tiki room back here. And, yeah, judging by, you know, you can see that is indeed the surf shack in there. So, like I said, just a ton of just kinetic vantage points. Okay, and speaking of kinetic vantage points, like I said, there's the that very, very dense shed that I showed you guys. Looking back out here. Yeah, I just, you know, everything that's out here just looks like it's been here forever. And I feel like the magic trick that my grandpa pulls off with this park is that some of it is quite new, or, I mean, all of it's pretty old, because most of it comes from thrift stores. But some of it is quite new in terms of, like, newly acquired for us. And other bits of it have been here for a long time, have been here for as long as the park's been around. So, I don't know, maybe I should do, like, a walking tour of the park with my grandpa or something, and he can kind of, like, you know, because that is one of the things that I find very fascinating about this park, is the historical elements of it. Okay, I'm hoping I don't run out of memory on my cell phone, because this is going on longer than I anticipated, and I don't think I'm going to edit it at this point, because I like the raw kind of vlog tour aesthetic that we've got going on here with this video. Okay, I found a lemon tree. So, I mean, just look at how dense, like, I love how, this whole area, we have, like, a natural tree canopy over us. Like, that is immersive to me. That is very immersive. And then we have, of course, this whole, you know, I mean, granted, I don't think the fence area, I think we could maybe have some more details there. Maybe that's for a future expansion. I'm talking like an Imagineer with a backyard, but what are you going to do? But, what you do have is kind of like a nice walking trail that vantage points out over the rest of the park. By the way, this thing used to be a barbecue pit of all things. So, yeah. Alright, are we calling this Moose Creek now, Grandpa? Is that what the deal is? Is this creek Moose Creek now? Ta-da! Creek, big reveal. Obviously it's a little hard to see, and I'm not even sure how much, because I can see my grandpa kind of like kind of pushed it in a little bit. It's not quite as deep as it used to be. I think a lot of these rocks down here definitely are new additions. I actually remember that was a really rigorous job that I got to do, was take all these sacks of rocks and kind of like lay them out. So yeah, that was actually my handiwork, is this this rock work down here. That's actually more or less my doing. I do remember that. Hard work, but I like the end results. Right. So here we go. I'm not going to show this area much because it's more of a storage area, but you know what we're going to call it? We're going to call it kind of like the cast member lounge, if you will, going by theme park terminology, because here it's kind of just like a very broken down fort, obviously kind of overgrown by trees at this point. But if we go into here, we have a little cast member area. We have a little break area. Look at that. How nice. How nice. You know, I mean, it's not much of an area, but, you know, it's like, I don't know, I just kind of like, that's what I've always sort of felt like with this area. It's like, it doesn't need to be themed, just because I feel like the theming of the area is in this facade in itself. And as you can see, it is just a facade. It's not even like a full fort. It's, you know, the illusion is that it's like a big broken down fort, but really, it's kind of just a box. So yeah, love that. So yeah, as you can see, I kind of pointed it out, the box illusion. Let's go back and see how it looks out here from afar. And yeah, as you can see, you get definitely more of a density to it, especially with that fence line back there. I'm not sure if you can see it, there's a hidden squirrel kind of like climbing up that thing. It's hard to get a good shot of it, but it's there. I think you can see it. So yeah, optical illusions, and I don't know, maybe a little bit of forced perspective going on with that fort box thing. Right. I mean, just check out all the detail on just this centerpiece alone. Just all the, you know, you just walk around and there's just a lot to it. So back here, as you can see, I feel like the park kind of naturally transitions into a more and more naturalistic aesthetic while still having fun details throughout. So, you know, you still kind of get this looming fort. It's a little bit more obvious that it's kind of a box from this angle, but, you know, it's kind of cool vantage point there. Nothing being done in this area right now, but it has potential. When I was a kid, it was a graveyard, and I might want to talk to my grandpa about kind of like reestablishing the graveyard theme back here. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Alright, and when I say graveyard, obviously just theme. There weren't actual things buried back here. So, nice hammock that I am too big to lie on, unfortunately, but it's comfortable. I remember having good times on it when I was a kid. Okay. You know what, let's zero back and show you the fort. And then I think there's only a few other things I have to show you before we get back to the transitional hub that I teased at the start of the video. So this fort is kind of just my hangout spot right now. That's literally what my grandpa purposed it to be. As you can see, he literally just kind of like put an old computer chair back there. And yeah, it's just kind of like sort of a mini surf shack, you know? I feel like it has potential. That recruitment red, white, and blue flag. Ugh, I can't talk. But as you can see, that was just put in there today. So it's like we're still kind of building it out. You got a little tiki there. I honestly feel like this speaks for itself in terms of like the origins of this building. And it was actually used as a bird cage at a certain point, and you can kind of still see the remnants of that. Alright, more of the succulent theme. And this also used to be a bird cage, and it also used to be a parade wagon. So yeah, a lot of history there with this particular vehicle that you can barely even tell is a vehicle. See, it's got the wheels right down there. Right. You know, it's funny. There was a certain point where this tree right here used to be like one of the big centerpieces of the yard. And I feel like now, with all the extra details added in over the years, I feel like it's kind of poetic that it's just kind of mossed over and is just sort of like, you know, just kind of chilling there right now. Just kind of chilling. It's served its time. Right. I mean, God. Just so much detail up here. We're about to get to the transitioning point. What is the pet stop, you may ask? You've probably seen the logos. Well, that's for a different video. We'll get into that soon enough. I want to make a series out of this yard, and I think there's a lot to explore back here. I mean, look at that fucking radio flyer just sitting on top of the fort. I mean, it's great. And then, of course, you got this, I barely even pointed it out, but you got this giant redwood tree. Got these palm trees back here that aren't even part of our yard, but absolutely, like, kind of complement the aesthetic of it. You know, these big trees that kind of hover over the area. Look at this bridge. Just look at this bridge. How adorable is that? How adorable is that? Tell me that doesn't look like it out of some golf course or like storybook amusement park or something. Let's walk over the bridge. Whee! Alright, you got another little centerpiece here. And here we go. Kind of rounding things out. Just, I mean, just a ton of stuff to look at, even still. But let's get into this. This used to be basically an aviary. It used to have fish. I don't think it has fish anymore, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to kind of just look to make sure while we're here. I don't think it has fish anymore. I really doubt it. I'd be surprised. Let's see. Are there hidden fish back here? I don't think so. And guess what, guys? We are back at the place where we started. Bam. So, yeah, that's the kind of transitional hub out into this back area. And there's not much back here. As you can see, it's kind of like a, you know, kind of like some extra lumber. I think my grandpa's planning on building some stuff. We'll see what comes of that. I mean, that's the thing. This whole thing out here, like this overlook, that didn't used to be here for a number of years until like a year or two ago. He's always messing with and changing things. This whole thing took years to do, believe it or not. He was bringing up extra soil, and I remember just having to just bring it up, you know, like up that, way up that back way up by the park entrance, as I pointed out, all the way up to here and dump it. I had no idea what he was using it for. And honestly, what he was using it for, I think, is great. Just kind of like this this overlook. I mean, look at that, like, look at that hidden detail right down there. You know, we got that overlook into the rest of the yard. And I think the best thing about it is that this land used to be very uneven back in the day. And he really just used all the excess dirt to just kind of like very much pad it out. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but, you know, like walking around it right now, I can really notice it. I can really notice the difference here. So this is really the last area. Not much here, but we got this ladder that was once a pool ladder. We also have this ladder that was once a pool ladder that's a little bit more obvious. And yeah, just rounding things out. I mean, you know, as you can see, things get very naturalistic around here. I mean, we do have one last little piece of kind of like Imagineered landscaping right out here with, you know, kind of this rock work that's very deliberately placed. You know, this redwood tree just kind of very imposing upon the area, casts a shadow over it. My friends and I definitely had some really good times out in this particular area, sort of overlooking the town. Good times. Just being back here brings back memories, honestly. Okay. So, I really think that's about it. Really think you've seen everything. I guess to end out on, I'll give us a sample of what we're maybe planning on in the future. So this brick wall, as you can see, it's not very stable. So my grandpa's thinking about building like a more... Whoa, God, I almost slipped right there. Jesus. My grandpa's thinking about building a more framed up wall to kind of like hold up all this dirt. And then I'm not sure if he's going to do anything with this idea, but I suggested repurposing the actual wall itself and kind of doing something with that, kind of like, you know, adding it is a detail in its own right. So we'll see what happens there. Guys, if you watched all the way to the end, I appreciate it. I'm kind of out of breath. I didn't expect this video to be so long. And I will end out on the owl. Hoot, hoot. Hoot, hoot. Hoot, hoot.